Hello and welcome back to part 4 of the blacksmith style push dagger. And better to start a video off with than a table covered with blue painter's tape. Let's get right into it. I'm doing some handle work right now. Gonna make an inlay out of some mahogany that I had lying around. It's gonna give it some aesthetically pleasing aspects as well as some strength in the handle. It's gonna keep it from flexing on the inside. I had this piece of mahogany from another project that was not knife related. My wife actually had broken a kitchen utensil holder, so I made another one. Turned out a lot nicer than the one that she broke. Apologies for the oscillation in the video. I fired my camera guy and since hired a new one, so you'll be pleased to know that that should not happen anymore. So I'm just cutting out the rough shape on the bandsaw. Piece is, I believe it was either 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch thick, which is way thicker than what I needed. So cutting it a little off center. Checking to make sure it's flat, which at this point it mattered to me, but later on it didn't, and you'll see why. Still got the bandage on my arm, but I've taken it off since then, and you'll be happy to know it did not require stitches, and I will be able to keep my arm. Thank you for all your concern and messages concerning this. Reprofiling the blade shape just a little bit. I was getting in a hurry, and actually I hit the very tip on the belt sander while it was running, so I ground off a very small piece of the edge of the tip, so just wanted to make it pointy again. There was a lot of filing and rechecking and refiling and fine-tuning and more adjusting. I was trying to get as little light to show through as possible, which the inside is not a perfect shape, so there was a little bit of light coming through, but not enough to make any concern for me. There you can see where it's rubbing and where it's not fitting very well, so just shaved a little bit off at a time till I got the perfect fit. So just doing some final sanding and shaping to what I thought was going to be how I was going to leave it, but turned out it looked a little too plain for me, and I wanted to give it a little more texture, a little more dimension. And unfortunately, yes, I'm sorry, I did not record the carving of what I'm doing, what I'm drawing out right here, which is some scalloping on the front and the back side of the handle. Actually, I did record it, but it shot my stomach the whole time, and I don't think that's too appealing to most of my viewers. So initially I was going to drill all the way through both parts of the handle, the top and the bottom, but then I had a better idea, or what I think is a better idea, which is, you'll see in a minute. What I had to do here, though, was because I hardened the entire knife, including the handle, I had to go back and heat up these sections to soften them up again. And also I failed to use a sharp drill bit on my first attempt. Sharp drill bits make a world of difference when you're trying to cut through steel. I did not harden, or I did not soften the second part of the handle, which is where I'm trying to drill through now, and I will be finding that out right in a second. It's basically just polishing a little shiny spot right where the drill bit's spinning at, and I gave in and heated those 2 other sections back up, and it worked like a charm. So I didn't drill all the way through. I drilled about halfway through, so that way the pins that I put in will seat properly, but they will not show on the other side. Not really an aesthetic reason, not really a functionality reason, just something different. Just doing some final, some more cleanup, smoothing out the contours and the roundness of the handle, and also getting the burrs off from where I just drilled through. And cutting some 1/8" brass pins on the bandsaw and tapering them. When you taper the pins, they actually go in a lot easier than if you just leave them flat. I usually do maybe a 1/16 inch 45-degree angle or so, something like that. Not exact, but helps it go in a lot faster. Using 20-minute epoxy. I don't care for it because it's really thin and it takes a long time to dry. It takes way longer than 20 minutes, no matter what anybody says. And I'm also putting some of the mahogany dust from when I was sanding in the epoxy, so that way any gaps that are filled, it won't be a clear, transparent look. It'll be dark to match the color of the wood. Getting toward the end of the video, I'm just going to do some cleanup and use some acetone to wipe away any of the epoxy residue. Tried something coming up here that didn't actually work out well at all. I had a little bit of a gap up near the finger guard section, and I was intending to fill it in with epoxy, but the epoxy leaked out all over the other side and it just made a mess of it. So I wound up cutting that out before the epoxy was fully hardened and just leaving it the way it was, and I liked it a lot better. Before I forget, before the end of the video, I just want to say thanks for viewing. Please leave a like, and if you feel like it, go ahead and leave a comment. And if you're so inclined and you get some out of these videos, please feel free to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll get an alert anytime I make a new video. I appreciate you very much. So nothing to do now but set it in the vise and let it dry. Check out the description below to follow me on my social media, and as well as go ahead and check out my Etsy shop. When this knife is finished, I'll be posting it up, as well as a few more. Thanks.